Yeah, he doesn't know what Halloween is.
I didn't quite know what to expect from the Trickening, honestly, and I never quite know where a Halloween episode's going to go. To me, I think the best Halloween episode might be the Rugrats one, because that one was still, it was consistent with its tone, and I've often argued that Ducktales is not really consistent with its tone. It likes to keep throwing in humor every bit, as a negative, it doesn't trust the audience to be able to handle that. And granted, Gravity Falls, there's a reason why people still love Gravity Falls. But the Trickening is alright. I kept thinking about how I felt about it, because in a lot of ways, it's stuff we've already seen before in terms of the beats. You know, the kids want to do a thing. Two of the boys don't understand each other. They come to a cross point. You know, Scrooge does something not really necessary to the plot, but is helpful. Launchpad is somehow dumber than usual. Like, there seems to be no cap as to how dumb Launchpad could be, and I think that's a discredit to his character, as well as the story, because if we have to keep making him dumber for comedy's sake, it's just going to, I think, ruin his character in some ways. But whatever. The premise of this episode is actually, I think, really cool. You know, it's Halloween. Huey wants to have one great hurrah while going trick-or-treating. You know, Dewey just wants to go there for the fun. Webby wants to sort of honor the history of Halloween, and Louie wants this big sort of candy score by going to the old Hazel house. Now, what's cool about that is that this sort of theme, every character here does sort of have this own sort of role within the tradition of Halloween. Huey is someone who really loves the spirit of Halloween, what it means from a family standpoint. Dewey's just there to have a good time. Webby, again, knows the history. Louie just wants the candy. Della and Donald each have different things that they want. And I was really hoping this was just their episode. You know, Della wants to create a really scary moment for the kids, like all the kids, that way they'll be able to look back on it. Donald just wants to give candy to trick-or-treaters. He just wants to be nice to kids. And for a moment, I thought it wasn't in line with Donald's character. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it kind of is. And not just this version, but sort of Donald in general. Like, we sort of know Donald's like a bit of a jerk. But, you know, he's always, like, even in the original opening cartoon, he has the sweetest disposition. You know, he never intends to start a fight. He just sort of likes to goof around a bit. And then his temper comes in. And then, well, yeah. And Scrooge wants to relive his glory days when he was a kid in Halloween. Halloween is nostalgic for him. And all of this makes for a really good story, but it feels a bit underwhelming for me. And I think that's just me, because I've heard a lot of people talk about how much they love this episode. So poo-poo on me, I guess. I'm also going to point out that the fact that Witch Hazel is only in this episode in name, because the old Hazel house, I think, is a disservice. You know, she was in a Donald Duck cartoon where she was introduced. She's been in a good number of the comics. I think maybe 3, so maybe not a good number of them. But one of them I generally loved was actually the first comic I ever got. So, yeah, I'm a bit disappointed that's not there. I kind of feel like maybe we didn't need these two separate stories with the kids going through this haunted house and, you know, and then Della and Donald finding out how stupid Launchpad is, thinking that about at least 20 years ago, he cursed he cursed Duckburg. He doesn't know what Halloween is, and it just irks me because of that. I mean, why couldn't Launchpad just legitimately believe in ghosts? You know, there's an old ghost story that he doesn't like. You can even tie it to the Hazel house, which I think the episode tried to do, but it doesn't really communicate that. But whatever. I think this should have just been a Donald and Della episode. Like, legitimately, what would be wrong with Della wanting this sort of materialistic view of Halloween, with the idea, like, you know, one thing she misses is candy. Because remember, she had that same gum the whole time. And Donald's saying, like, he wants to recapture what he and Della used to do when they were kids on Halloween. That would have been great. And then you have the kids going on this sort of, you know, excursion. I really want the Della and Donald thing to be front and center. And then you could have Scrooge go in and tell them what it's about, hanging out with the kids. And I think that would have made for a much better story for me. This is a fun episode. I think it's too early. I mean, the date for this it was like, what, the second week in October? Not even the second week. I'm going to say it was probably still the first week in October. So why did this come out that early? Could we not have played this the week of Halloween? I don't know. Anyway, what'd you guys think about it? I felt the jokes weren't as strong. Last couple of episodes, jokes were really great. This one, they're just sort of like their jokes. We go from there. Except for this one here with Frankenstein.
Frankenstein think it stemmed from latent fear of being perceived as childish and regressing to a place where you're no longer in control.
Who cares?
I like that one. Great. I'll catch you all later. This is Bug at Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching, and as always, may your fandom serve you well.
I love Halloween!
Close enough, pal. Close enough.